Part of what the hospice organisation believes is to educate the community at large about death and dying, and that death is really part of life. Hospice approached Glen Murray from the mature age dance experience with the idea of creating a performance to express ideas around life and death. And so we launched into a year-long time of workshopping.
A lot of us in the group have had that experience of somebody close to us dying. So for us it was a really good expression of feeling and emotion, but to be able to do it through dance and movement was an absolutely added bonus. So we were all pretty excited about working with the hospice group.
I was brought on the project as the community engagement coordinator by Tas Regional Arts to better engage the hospice volunteers into the dance project and integrate them into this newfound exciting medium of dance, and also to sort of open up conversations and stories that would better feed into Glen Murray's artistic process for the dance work.
We ended up really with a performance that consisted of two parts. One part was the dance with 17 dancers, and the other part was a sound installation where the stories were under the pillows.
I'm 97 now. People would say, you're close to death, which I am, but it's not one of my major thoughts at all.
I can't do all the things I used to do, you know, and I've started walking.
I began my process by actually interviewing hospice volunteers, but then we decided to actually go into residential care homes to speak to people who are nearing the end of their lives.
My interview with Sara about losing Zol is included as part of the sound installation, which was at the beginning of the performance. I feel being able to talk about Zol in a way connects me with other people who have lost a son or a daughter.
As the performance started, the installation was open for about a half an hour, and people again were encouraged to come and sit on the beds. Pretty soon the dance started, and the dancers actually carried the pillows away as the voices trailed off into the distance and the dance work started.
I was interested in this project for a number of reasons. I had lost my partner a couple of years ago, so I was dealing with grief and well aware of problems with death, and so I was interested. I found that a really interesting project to be involved with. Well, I think everyone really had many stories to tell about death, and as soon as you start talking to people, you realise that they always have such illuminating, brave, bold stories. And so it was really nice to hear them, and then just to put some movement to them, and the simplest idea sort of became the starting point for a dance piece. And that was really nice to see that each of the dance pieces in the end have this sort of this initial idea or spark that comes from a particularly moving personal story. Well, the one I suppose that I was most directly involved in was the hand dance piece, because that did come out of a very personal experience. And working with that, I just found it to be very emotional, very powerful each time I did it. When my partner was in palliative care, someone brought in some Chopin nocturnes. We put that on and she put up her hand to move in time with the music. And I sort of put up my hand so they were mirroring each other, and we did a little hand dance. And that was the genesis of the hand dance, the mirroring and dealing with the situation of the linking together, but also the need to pull away.
I really felt emotional about was the one called Baby Love, a piece about the death of children. So that was fairly emotional. And then moving straight into that was The Shedding Skin, which was to the poem that Sue had written.
After Zol died, and I wanted to do something creative, I suppose, the strongest image I had was of layers being torn away from me. The image shedding skin came to my mind. You think there's nothing more to lose, and yet there's another layer that comes off.
I really liked just the idea of getting rid of the grief and taking the sheds of skin off, which are the grieving process. Each night I did that was extremely emotional.
I was really, really touched by the way Shirley did it. I think she did it with such respect and tenderness and deep feeling. I was very, very moved by what she did.
I think it was an amazing experience on lots of levels. Working with Glen, I think that he really had the ability to take a simple idea and find some way of expressing in a dance form. He really managed to keep the tone right, and I think that's why it was such a successful piece.
Once you're involved with hospice, talking about death and dying becomes really quite an easy and normal part of life. But in the bigger community out there, it's not really a very sexy topic. People don't really want to talk about it.
If we can openly, through our bodies and through music, display these things about grief and the awkwardness of it, it's not just the grief, it's the awkwardness we have around death and around being with people who are dying. And the more we do that, show that, the less awkward we're going to become.